I had a few mentors in my life that were investing in real estate while in corporate America. And so I'm like, all right, this is my ticket. All right, 401k is only going to take me so far. So I got my license, started stacking up a few duplexes and kind of learning on the fly. But then started getting like requests from like family and friends who were like, hey, can you help me buy a house? I didn't get my license to do this, but okay. Just tripped over a few deals, started to kind of do maybe roughly 4 to 10 units a year part-time. Like, oh, I could see myself doing this full time. So after a couple years of kind of doing like corporate America and this, and then had a couple kids. Now I had 2 daughters at the time. My wife was still working at the time, and it was like, okay, I like real estate. I could work this to be flexible around like the dad and family schedule that I want to have. I know I don't like this corporate America, like being tied to a desk. Like, how can I segue? This is where a lot of agents or a lot of people will get stuck and they never make the jump and they stay part-time forever. And they kind of like half-ass 2 things. And that's fine, but like there's a way to get out of the cycle. I was lucky enough to have Mark Z like on speed dial, calling him all the time. Like, Mark, how do I run an open house? Mark, how do I write this offer? Mark, how do I, and Mark, to his credit, he was always answering his phone. And then Mark calls me and he's like, hey, I'm going to EXP. I'm like, wherever you are going, I don't care if you go to a cardboard box. I'm going to wherever you go, Mark. So came over to EXP and kind of started to see like, okay, I'm aligning myself with people who know what they're talking about, coaching, some accountability, but I was a solo agent, still part-time. Through EXP, I was able to meet Ken Hirschman, who had just started Best Life and Company. This is about 5 years ago. Did a deep dive with Ken on like, okay, like how does lead sourcing work? How do I manage a pipeline? Where do I get my pipeline to look so my income can look fairly predictable and I can make a very unpredictable type of career predictable if I do some effort-based controllable things on the front end, right? So these are all things like I was learning while I was in corporate America, but I was kind of starting to put the pieces together. So 4.5, 5 years ago now, I got my pipeline to where I want to be and then got out of corporate America, which like best day ever. Literally could not have been floated out of the dang office, never looked back, care less about that type of structure. And I was able to get to a spot in my business where I felt comfortable doing so while still being able to be home for dinner with my kiddos and, you know, go out on date nights with my wife and go on vacations without having to put a 6-month notice in with my employer, right? So that's why real estate, to kind of live the dad life and be the husband and father I want to be while making the money I want to make. And I was able to do that because I aligned myself with the right people, which happened to be at EXP. Another question I get a lot is like, why Best Life? How have you been here for 5 years? Why does it make sense for you, right? You know, any new agent I talk to or any agents that's looking to grow their business and build their business and actually treat it like a business rather than a lot of agents are like on this hamster wheel of like order taking and running around showing houses and not like they're busy, but they're not productive, right? At Best Life, what I learned quickly was how to build a business and how to make it manageable and predictable, right? At Best Life, there's growth opportunities. A lot of agents will, you know, you'd think at a team, a lot of agents would stay for a year or two, get some close clients, kind of get their feel for it and leave. And that's fine. Some do that. But at Best Life, what we do here is we give agents who want to grow within the company, you know, reasons or options to do so. So for instance, there's coaching opportunities, not only between revenue share at EXP being paid that way, there's also paid coaching opportunities, right? So that's manageable dollars per hour. So at one point last year, I was coaching 15 agents, anywhere from 8 to 15 agents, right? So that's a way to kind of get out of the day-to-day, but like work and build my business the way I want it to, right? So another thing Best Life does is like they offer other growth opportunities and other leverage opportunities to help build your business. So like you're never really stuck at a glass ceiling of productivity, right? There's always a way to make more or tweak your hours to make it make sense to work around what you're looking to do, right? Because not everyone's looking to make the most or work the least amount of hours for the most highest dollar per hour. Like everyone's a little different. So for me, it was important for me to be home for dinner, home for bedtime, be able to get to swim class at 2 o'clock. I say that all the time, but it's true, right? Like not many dads can do that. Here at Best Life, there's leverage opportunities with showing agents. There's transaction support. Transaction team is 12 out of 10 and they handle everything from soup to nuts. While me, the agent, the agency are still quarterbacking the deal, right? And so again, growing your business, working on it rather than in it. In addition to the coaching opportunities and the leverage opportunities and the business growth opportunities, at some point I was like, okay, so what's next, right? And so the next step was opening up a second office. I locked in this building here in downtown Romeo. It was a natural fit because our team does a ton of business in Oakland, Macomb, Lapeer County, and kind of up like 53. I'm 53, right? It was a 2-year build out, a really old building, 170 years old, but it was worth it because it gave our team another footprint in a county that we already served, right? And so it also helped us grow because now it's an underserved area in my opinion. Teams offering what Best Life offers, it's not up here right now. Agents, I'm getting calls weekly from agents in around the area that are like, when can we meet up? When can we talk? When can we get a coffee? Whatever. I believe in Best Life and it's done, I thought it would do and more the last 4 years. And so it made sense just to keep running that train right up 53 to open this this up for the second location, I think that it's just the next natural step in growth. And I don't know many teams in the state or in the country that are offering these type of growth opportunities. EXP made a ton of sense for me because it aligned me with folks who were way more experienced than I was. So I could learn way more quicker. And a lot of agents have a hard time kind of getting past this hump, or maybe it's ego or whatever it is, but it just happened to be EXP because Mark Z was at EXP and he was a mentor of mine, but it's aligned me with a massive upline called the Fast Forward movement. And the group we're in makes up 10% of EXP's agents worldwide, 10%. But we account for 50% of the volume. 10% accounts for 50% of the volume. Like this group, this alignment at EXP through the RevShare program just flat out sells. So there's weekly Zoom calls that are available to all these agents that are in our group. There's boots on ground support between us and Mark Z and our entire local upline here. And it just made so much sense because it aligned me with folks locally and nationwide that I could learn from. And I feel like I've got decades of experience in 5 short years. So this is another reason that EXP made a ton of sense for me, because it's not best life or nothing. It could be best life or EXP solo. And if you want to be a solo agent at EXP, you can still tap into our world and use some of the things we're doing to help grow your business. So if you don't want to do 50 deals a year or 30 deals a year or 100 deals a year, because we have agents doing all those sorts of things here at Best Life. If you want to be a solo agent and rock and roll and do your thing, that's fine too, but you can still be aligned with us through EXP's model to where essentially it's paid mentorship. That's all it is. And all these other brokerages have it and they just call it something different. EXP just happens to really work, and the group that we are with really gets it done. So if I'm a solo agent and the team's not for me, like that's why, being at EXP makes sense, because you can kind of get the best of both worlds. You don't have to be on the squad to be in our world to some degree.